Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wytpod. My name is Harshit, and I'm the Director of Business Alliances at Wytlabs. We're a digital agency specializing in SaaS and e-commerce SEO. Now, I have Jayashree Rajan with me today. She is the CMO of Nexla, an enterprise data integration platform. A big welcome to you, Jayashree. So happy to have you with me today.
Hey, Harshit, thank you for having me. Super excited to be here and chatting with you.
Right. Jayashree, I would love to start with your journey. You had a tech background and then you switched to a marketing role. I would basically love to understand what was the moment that gave you that kick to transition to a marketing role and on if there was any challenge. Yeah, please.
Yeah, no, this is a question that I think a lot of people ask me when I introduce myself and my background.
Yeah.
So, if you think as a CMO and my background, I'm an engineer by training. So, my undergraduate degree is in electrical and electronics engineering. So, I actually studied to be an engineer. My first job out of college was actually in manufacturing, and I was building electrical motors, right? So, I was trying to stay close to my education, and that was how I even started my professional journey. But from there, when I moved to the US, at that point, I started taking on software development roles. So one of my earliest roles was actually I was a developer. I did this company's website. It's a managed healthcare company back in Florida. So I did their website, I managed their website. This was for their patient enrollment. But then I was also the system administrator. I also did their backups at the end of the day. Those days we used to do those tape backups. So I was responsible for backing up their data. So I did pretty much anything technical for them. That was me. I was the one point of contact. But over the course, as my in my journey as a developer, the single point of contact for anything technology and all of that, I actually realized that my interest was less in actually developing things, building a database. It was more actually understanding the why. What are people asking for? What are people complaining about? If a patient cannot log in, what are the issues they're facing, right? The interactions from the end users and why they were asking for certain things. Why should I build that certain thing to meet someone's needs? So those were the things that intrigued me. And I would say that was probably the journey. So it was not just one moment that I can say, hey, it was a magical moment. But that's the part where I realized that I enjoyed the why. I enjoyed the understanding why I need to build certain things. And then from there on, I went on to become a product manager. I was trying to build the features. I did my MBA. And then I got into truly understanding requirements and building features that users ask for. How do they work? How do they not work? And all that. But it's during the course of my product management journey that I found marketing, because I think they, at least for me, they went hand in hand. It was like, hey, you're building this product, you have these features. How do you market this? So from driving traffic to people to look at my product, consume my features, conversions, more signups. So that's what started me in marketing. And then from there on, it was the different aspects of marketing, right? How do I drive demand? How do I drive awareness? How do I get people engaged once they actually learned about my product, my company? How do I build an ecosystem with partners? So there were lots of things, my email marketing campaigns. So once I started in marketing, I just couldn't stop. I was fascinated, the depth and the breadth and the lot of things that we have to do and the touches from a prospect to a customer, the different things we have to do. It's fascinating. So I have continued my journey and I love every minute in marketing. And this is where I see myself continuing.
Brilliant. You've got over 20 years of experience. You have basically in both B2B as well as B2C space, right? What do you consider the most significant changes in the field during your career journey so far?
Yeah, I think I would again cheat a little bit here. Instead of saying one significant thing, I think there are a few different things that I've seen change over the course of my marketing experience, how the landscape has evolved. So previously, if you think about, and I think we talked a little bit about this, right? It used to be long sales cycle. It used to be sales and in person, working with prospects, in person handshakes to close a deal. Now, marketing has a very critical role to play. Have that engine. So, your website, your demand gen, your events, your webinars, everything that you do now have to cater to bringing that prospect, building their awareness, bringing their knowledge, and then converting them, getting them to sales, and then converting, continuing to convert them, continuing to educate them. Once you're a customer, you want to keep that loyalty, you want to keep that awareness, you want to make sure they are loyal, they understand how to use your product. So there are so many different pieces. So I think the evolution is from that largely, hey, marketing used to do something in a silo, sales used to go do something else in a silo to close deals. Now it is joint go to market motion. So you have heard so many people now talk about joint go to market motion, right? So sales and marketing work together on everything, including who to target, including what activities we need to do. So that to me is a huge shift. And it's also driven this whole, hey, let us get our website to be a demand engine now, right? So sales doesn't have to go figure out how to do this in a silo. And then the notion of that now that has also come up is personalized content, right? How do I personalize? I think you and I talked a little bit about it. How do I not just message generically to you, but if I know you're this vertical and you have this pain point, how do I message to you versus a different pain point, a different vertical, a different title? So that evolution of personalization also, I think, has been fueled by the engine, this joint go to market motion, and the reliance on digital. So I would say they're all intertwined, but they're all some big trends that I've seen and changes over the last several years.
Yeah, that's very well put. Let's talk a bit about Nexla. What are the core strategies that you have in place for when it comes to your marketing? Plus, what are some of the most, like, the main use of Nexla that kind of makes it stand out in this crowded space?
Yeah. So I'll start probably with Nexla, right? So we actually are a startup, and I would say an innovative startup like Gartner. You go look at our mentions, right? We get a lot of mentions by analysts, even though we are a startup and we don't yet qualify to be in the magic quadrant. The fact that we appear in market research documents, the fact that we appear in hype cycles, it just testifies the innovation, right? So we are actually a data integration platform at the core of it, but there are tons of data integration platform. So what we do, our model is a little unique. Our goal is, we want to make data available to anyone, any format, anywhere. You plug your systems, connect to Nexla. It could be PDFs, connect us to SharePoint, connect us to your Excel or Google Sheets, whatever, any format, your external, internal data sources. We can make sense of it, you can have your metadata, and we create this unique thing called products, data products, virtual data products, or next sets. I think that's one of our unique selling point, if you will, because these logical data products, think of cubes, right? If you look at a Rubik's cube, those little cubes. So you can create as many data products as you want. So say I want Harshit, you're an external agency I work with. I want to give you one level of access, one set of dimensions that you have access to. Say an internal data analyst team, they need to do more detailed analysis. So I'll give them a little different access. So I can still use the same data. I can give everybody access, but I can work out the access. And I think that is one core and one key aspect that we have. And then the other thing, and this comes a lot in our Gen AI use cases, we can do structured data, unstructured data. So you don't have to worry about what you have. We can work with any models. We can show you the difference with AI models. We can send the data to any vector databases. But really, with Gen AI and data now becoming the pretty crucial aspect, we are already ahead of that forefront where we have thought through some of those needs, some of those pain points, and we have already Gen AI customers, right? So we help with this whole next set and then helping people with access to data, any format, any place, anytime. And also our Gen AI use cases, we help people be ready for Gen AI. You can launch your apps into production, don't have to be set in POC. So I feel we have several different aspects that are different from other people in this same space, if you will. We tackle a whole lot of different problems people come up with. And now, from a marketing strategy perspective, we are a startup, right? So we have I think if you think about our cycle, a startup cycle, the first goal was awareness. How do we get people to know about us? How do we get our analysts to know about us? So a lot of the marketing cycles so far have been building awareness. It has been events, summits, webinars, analyst relationship. It's been a lot about that one-on-one relationships with a lot of prospects. I think as we are growing, as we are evolving now, the next phase is actually changing that media mix a little bit. So from awareness now, we can get people to consideration and go into, hey, I know this is the solution that's going to meet my needs. So focusing on that media mix, focusing on that marketing mix, things like SEO, things like how do we get more people to our demos? How do we do paid campaigns? So there are lots of things that are top of mind now, not rocket science, but account based marketing. So there are all these things that we are trying to focus on to get to that next level.
Gotcha. And now, as a seasoned marketer, what are the main KPIs that you focus on, that you prioritize for any of your marketing campaign and your efforts on here?
So again, going by that same notion, that user journey, getting them from top of the funnel, getting them from awareness, bringing them down to consideration, and then they're ready to, hey, this is the product that I need. This is a solution that matches my needs. So you're bringing them down the pipeline. So I look at marketing KPIs also, and this is every place that I go to, every place that I work. I look at the metrics in a similar way. What is starting from, hey, how many visitors? So we launch a campaign. We are going to launch a campaign now shortly. So everything from there, the baseline is how many visitors are we going to get? How many people of those do we think are going to engage and say they want to talk to sales? From there, how many people are going to go into an email campaign? What would be the engagement rate for those emails, right? The open rate, the click through rate. How many people might go actually into a sales queue? How many will be the part of the pipeline? So I look at everything from top of the funnel metrics like visitors, page views, engagement time, session time, all the way to what's the pipeline that we have built, how many of those went on to be close won, and then what's our return on investment. One key aspect that I love to look at is for every dollar, how much pipeline are we able to build? And for every dollar, how much close win are we able to get? And we constantly need to keep improving upon that. So the baseline right now is what I have, and I'm trying to build on all of that.
Gotcha. And any specific campaigns or, or that you're planning to do around, you know, the journey of a customer post-purchase for the retention side of things?
Yeah. So I'm actually in the process for retention, working through, and nothing elaborate in terms of, it's not a huge campaign, but what are those touches that we should be doing, right? Right from when someone actually signs a deal and they're handed over from sales to CSMs, what is it that we need to do? What is the checklist, right? Including, hey, maybe something, welcome, thank you, email, a little kit. So I'm working through building all of that as an example. And then when the onboarding completes, what should we do? When should we be touching them and asking them for a reference? But how do we keep them informed, right? The product webinars that we do, the deep feature webinars, when do we invite, who do we invite to those webinars so they can get value from their product usage? So we work closely with the CS team. But again, in the spirit of a startup, I'm actually building those touches to keep that engagement going, and I have a few pieces in place, and I'm trying to build upon more of those.
Gotcha. And just to tell me, when it comes to your lead generation as well, current stage, what are some of your winning channels? Let's pick top three.
Yeah. So the channels are, again, nothing should be surprising, right? There are a mix of channels. There is a lot of events because we are a startup. So we do go to events because that's a great way for us to drive awareness, to meet CXOs, to meet analysts. So there are quite a few events, especially in the data space, because we are data integration platform. So that is one huge aspect. And then we do a lot of webinars, and we did our digital summit. Actually, we did our virtual data integration summit This was a couple months ago. Huge attendance. We had thought leaders from a lot of different companies talk about generally their pain points and the trends that they see with data integration, data operations, data monitoring, all of that. And then Gen AI, because that's top of mind now for everybody. So virtual events and then organic SEO. That has been a huge part. A bulk of our traffic that's coming to our website today is organic, is driven by SEO, several keywords. But now bringing them to conversion, that's the next part that I'm working on. And then we have done on and off, we've done some digital campaigns like PPC and LinkedIn. And my goal now is to resurrect some of those and have them as an ongoing campaign. So we keep people informed, we be top of mind. And once we have some of these, then account-based marketing and air cover for those people who are researching and who are thinking about this, how do we make sure they see relevant information at the right time? So that will be the next phase. I'm always a believer of crawl, walk, and run. So I'm trying to be in between crawl and walk right now and get some of these pieces in place.
That's brilliant. And Jayashree, what I've seen in my experience is specifically channels like physical, being part of physical events, or in fact webinars as well. A lot of marketers basically struggle with the right attribution and the right tracking of the eventual outcome altogether. Tips that you have, like anything that you're doing, which is really helping you to measure the success properly,
Yeah.
coming these specific
Yeah.
challenges.
Yeah. And I think this is a classic problem, right? I don't think there is a perfect solution.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, there is this whole notion, right? Everybody can go down a rabbit hole when we start talking. I'm sure you have heard this many times. There's always this first touch, last touch attribution too. Hey, did I bring the lead or did sales bring the lead? Where did this lead come? For me and marketing now, it is multi-touch attribution, right? We have to, and when I say multi-touch attribution, it is not saying, hey, pipeline divided by 12 touches and give equal credit to all the 12 activities. The way I think about it is a journey, right? A user's journey. Say you and I talk, right? I'm in the market for an agency, an e-commerce digital agency. You need to now build my level of knowledge. You need to understand my pain points. You need to then say, hey, why don't you come and consume these two pieces of asset? Or I have a relevant webinar for you, or meet me at an event. We have to do several things. We have to keep touching that person multiple times, or a buying committee. In some case, actually many cases now, you will see that it's not just one person making that decision. And in our case, what we have seen is, hey, the data, the CXO might be thinking they have this problem and they want to look at a solution like ours. But the people that are implementing it are data engineers. So we need to make sure that our content, what we have on our website, including our navigation, it resonates. People are able to find that right information. They're able to find that right proof point. So hitting them with that right information, the right messaging at each time in the channel that they consume. But it's not this one touch. Hey, I do this one time, first touch or last touch. That's actually going to help. One of the data studies, I looked at all opportunities in the past year. This was a couple companies ago.
Yeah.
And when I looked at the attribution, the larger the deal size, the number of touches we needed, right? Because hey, the larger the deal size, you also have that time frame, and you need to make sure that you're engaging with your prospects during that time frame, so you're not losing them. They're not getting lost in a meeting, and we want to keep that engagement, the education continuing through that 8, 9, 12-month cycle. So I actually noticed that the bigger the deal cycle, so enterprise deals needed up to 20 touches, right? Smaller mid-market, commercial, I would say mid-market deals, 10 to 12 touches. Commercial deals, less than 10 touches. So it'll actually tell you when you look at the data and when you look at the number of touches that marketing has to do, it tells you that people need constant support, education, awareness, and they need to keep finding more information about the company.
Yeah, that's completely right. And drastically changing in the B2C space as well. The frequency, say, just a small example for e-commerce specifically, maybe like a frequency of 5 touch point was enough. Now it does much higher. That's the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think e-commerce, there will again be a completely different nuance, right? Like you might actually need to create a sense of urgency sometimes, right? Like when you see, and I did this when I was working through shopping cart abandonment, those kind of explorations, right? Sometimes you say, hey, someone went and added stuff, they didn't complete the transaction, give them an offer, right? Say, hey, 5%, 10%, and you have seen all this, right? So that's a different type of buying cycle. But again, you have to touch them. You have to give them that right information and support at that right time.
Yeah, but that too, like the offer should be on multiple platforms, tons of strategies now. So like, it is becoming the whole
Yeah.
uh, marketing landscape is so tricky nowadays. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Any specific tools that you're planning, any new technologies that you're planning to bring into Nexla to enhance your marketing efforts?
I think I mentioned ABM a couple times, right? We do have some solutions in place, but I think the first phase for me is getting that intelligence who is on our website and searching for us, because not everybody is going to fill out a form, and who is searching for us outside, right? Trying to get those signals, and then who do we now prioritize and target from our outbound campaigns? That is one priority. We have something in place, but I think again, in the spirit of crawl, walk, run, I want to make sure we're maximizing what we have in place. We have some AI like tools. We do build our own models to write content, say webinar invites, or we want to do something else. So we use OpenAI, and we do use models to help us with content so that it actually we can go do personalization. Obviously, there is going to be that human touch, right? We don't want to just send people content that AI writes. So there is definitely that human element. But really, I think what I'm trying to hone in on is that personalization, the balance, but using AI because we can't scale, right? We can't keep writing. I can't write one email for you and then one email for someone else. So the human AI balance to personalize our messages, to personalize everything that we do for our titles, for our verticals, for our events, or different types of things. I think that is one main thing that I want to hone in more on with the team the next few months.
Yes, wise. All right. Now, because since you believe in leading by example and fostering a collaborative environment, how does this philosophy basically manifest in your marketing team day-to-day operations?
Yeah. For me, it's not about, I think you have seen a lot of different leadership styles, right? So it is not about coming in and saying, hey, you have to do this way because this is how I want to do things, right? A lot of it actually is collaboration, a lot of it is ideation, right? So I do like to have the teams ideate. So the campaign that we're going to launch, I did want the team to ideate and come up with, hey, what are the things we can do? How should we do things differently from what we did in the past? So it is getting that empowerment, encouraging ideation. I was working with the designer today as an example, right? So part of it is defining what we need, but the other part is saying, hey, you tell me how best can we accomplish this. So I asked him to show me variations, and he came up with best practices. Hey, this is what I have seen. These are some of the best ways to, tackle this UX stuff. And this is the designer. So really, I think it is everybody has something that they bring to the table. Everybody needs to actually contribute, or they can contribute their ideas. And I don't have perfect ideas, right? Everything that we have may or may not work. So being open to A/B testing. So one thing that I am big on, I think this is my engineering background has helped me a lot, is data, right? So I look at everything as, hey, let us try to do an A/B test. Let's use data to determine. So what happens then is that subjective, hey, I think I should do this because I think so, goes away. So we use data, including my ideas. I might have ideas. We use data to say, yes, should we proceed or should we not proceed, right? It doesn't have to be an elaborate A/B test. Sometimes it can just be talking to four people, showing them a couple things and asking them to pick. Other times it could be an A/B test where you actually measure the outcome. So really putting data in the mix for me has been a huge way to bring this collaboration because it takes away the subjective confrontation and other things that you see sometimes.
Yeah. I agree. So what gives you the kick? What motivates you to continue driving excellence in your role? And how do you stay energized and positive?
Yeah. So for me, I think it's about the results, right? So I'm an adrenaline junkie, and for me, it's not jumping from planes and climbing Mount Everest. For me, it's about, hey, how can we do? We have a lot of things we need to do, whatever it takes, right? If I have to write copy, and if I have to get up in the morning and do a spreadsheet, if I have to do some analysis, if I have to build a Salesforce dashboard, I will continue doing that. So, one part of me that keeps me going is actually the fact that marketing and the depth and the things that you can do, from data to content to the different tactics, your media mix. So, there's so many things. There'll never be a dull moment. How do we engage with customers? What's the latest blog we can write? There's so many things. So that is one aspect. The other aspect is actually that closed loop with sales and looking at every improvement we do. How is it bringing in more traffic? Like I'm looking at I always trend data. I look at month over month. Hey, doing this, did we increase or did we decrease, right? Did our traffic increase or did we see something else, right? So every improvement that we see, for me, that's a huge win. So looking at the results, looking at the collaboration between sales and marketing and the trust between sales and marketing, I've always gone into organizations and I've always seen there is a broken trust. There's a broken bridge between sales and marketing. So seeing that trusting relationship where they say, hey, I know this is what you have given me, and I know this is how I'm going to go and target this prospect, and you help me win this deal. There's a collaborative effort. I think that's the part that for me at the end of the day, it's a results, right? Win this together. So any deal we closing together as a team and seeing that teamwork, but the results that show up for me, those are the things that keep me going. And that's really why I'm in a startup, because I can get to experience all of that.
Yeah. All right. Now, what do you see as the biggest challenge or an opportunity for marketers in today's age in the tech industry?
Yeah, I think we have talked about and being in data integration, and we are seeing Gen AI so much in our use cases as well, right? I think for marketers, especially, I think it is that balance, right? You asked me earlier, you had a question, hey, what are you using? Because you don't want to get an insane number of tools and have them do a lot of different things, and your content can just be crazy. It won't be personalized. AI and hallucinations, right? AI thinks it's given you a really smart answer, but that might not be the smartest answer, right? So I think for us balancing that human, how do we use automations? How do we use AI to make things easier for us, to make us progress more? I think for me, that's the biggest challenge is that balance and using and augmenting what we can do with AI, because there is a ton of value that AI provides. It's just harnessing and leveraging it the right way.
Yeah. Hi, Jayashree. We're coming to an end now, and I would love to have a quick rapid fire with you. Are you ready for
Sure. Sounds like fun.
it? There's a coffee hamper as well. All right. So the first question is, what's your last Gen AI prompt?
What was my last Gen AI prompt? Okay, 2 days ago, I actually was trying to personalize. This was a very small in person get together with a few key folks. So I was trying to personalize um, attendees, registrants versus non attendees. I was trying to personalize the communication that I want to get out to them. So I built a model so I can use this again for future uses. That was my last exercise 2 days ago.
Okay. If you could swap role with any other department in your company for a day, which would it be?
If I could swap role with any other department, I would say it would be customer success.
Interest.
Uh, yeah, for me, I don't think I can sell, right? I can help sales, but that takes a whole different genetic composition. But CS actually helps you understand your customer. So, not just the prospect, but it helps you understand and touch that customer in different ways and support them. I'm always impressed about what they do. So, that's who I would swap with.
Okay. If you could magically increase your marketing budget tenfold, what would be the first thing you would do with those extra funds?
If I could increase my marketing budget tenfold, I would definitely look at my MarTech stack. And because I told you the whole notion is what can we automate? What can we do to get efficiency? So I would definitely augment my MarTech stack. I would definitely love to get a more robust account based marketing solution that works for sales and marketing. And then a couple AI solutions for the team, social media, maybe some help there, something with demand gen, getting your pages up and running quickly. I know I experimented a couple solutions like that before, but those might be some things that I would probably get. And of course, everything else I would probably put into driving demand because I think you do need more budget sometimes if you're a startup to drive demand.
Yeah, and plus, like you're in a very crowded space as well, and it's very competitive too, especially just to increase the presence on search.
Like,
Yeah, yes, you can be clever about it. But yeah, all right. If you could use only one social media for the rest of your life, which would it be?
That is a trick question. I think everything has its pros and cons. If we, if it just one, I would say it's LinkedIn. It's still not quite. I know X is or Twitter. X sounds strange. I know Twitter is still popular with technologists and stuff, but I feel like LinkedIn still has a balance of professional content and a balance of people using their right titles, their right industry verticals, talking about relevant problems. I would say in LinkedIn, unless things change drastically.
If we keep business aside, on a personal level, what platform would you prefer?
Personal level too, I spend more time on LinkedIn than I spend on all the other platforms.
Hmm, interesting. All right.
So if I write a blog, if I write anything, I try to put that first on LinkedIn.
All right. Now, coming to a very last question, what's the most bizarre marketing tactic you've ever seen work successfully?
The most bizarre tactic. That's actually interesting. It could be any company or it should be from my experience.
Yeah, could be any company.
Okay. I think the most bizarre, then I would say, I was influenced quite a bit by this. It was Atlassian's marketing strategy, and that shaped actually some of my early marketing. They never had sales initially when they started. It was the whole notion of messaging to your technical persona and then self service, everything self service. They want to get the product self service. They want to set it up self service, learn self service. So everything was self service. And they were wildly successful. And a lot of companies tried to replicate it. So I would say, and you can see now a lot of companies have been doing that more and more. Of course, no org actually can go with, hey, I'm not going to have sellers, but they just did this as a marketing approach. No sales, no sellers, and they were wildly successful. I think that was like really bold and it worked really well.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Jayashree. I really appreciate you taking time out for this, joining me on this podcast, sharing your wonderful experiences about Nexla, and truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. And if people want to connect with me, they can find me on LinkedIn or go to nexla.com to read more about what we're doing in the data integration and Gen AI space. But thank you. I appreciate this was a fun conversation.
Thank you.